Okay, so I've covered this before, but I'd like to readdress it. So the NeuralLink is coming out fairly soon, and this is quite the thing. In my opinion, it is kind of the modern equivalence of the Gutenberg press, even though Gutenberg probably didn't create the press in some important sense. The Chinese had it a few centuries before that. Nevertheless, it is a profound pivot point on which this human civilization is going to move, in my opinion, and I think it's going to be a bit of a tumultuous trip, and that's unfortunate to say, but these mutations, and I think that's a key word, are quite profound, and the augmentation of the human body-mind is something that has not been exactly taken on in the form of self-creating evolution in that sense. Other than, you can look at tool making and you can see how there's been this exponential trend in exterior tool creation and how that has augmented humans' capacities deeply, but the integration of it is something quite different in very important ways. So I'm going to make an argument in this particular video that although it's kind of presented by people like Elon Musk, who is obviously far smarter than I, that we have a triune brain, which is a three-part brain. I'm going to make the argument that we actually kind of have a five-part brain, although it's very understandable why we don't consider these two previous layers brain. But I think for understanding the nature of mind, it's integral. And as we move forward, that integrality will become more in our face, I think. And so I hope this is integrated into people's minds, like Elon Musk a little bit, in his moving forward with the NeuralLink. So the triune brain is really a three-part brain, as I noted, which consists of a reptilian brain stem, so all kind of speciation up until reptiles, and then you have the mammalian limbic system, which is commonly associated on an interior front with emotions and these sorts of things, but a lot more complex than the reptilian brainstem, which is far more impulsive. And then you have the complex neocortex, which sort of sits atop the mammalian limbic system. And that is often associated with, on the interior landscape, complex thinking, wittiness and all those things that humans are capable of, but it extends all the way back to rodents and to some small degree, although at that point it was about a postage stamp. So I said that perhaps we have five brains, however, and again that the two earlier brains are often and understandably largely not associated as brains. But I'm going to say that there's kind of vital life. So this is associated with plants and, all non-animal living organisms, I think is kind of a brain. And what I mean by this, we have to look at a notion, and that notion is called holonics. It's, I believe, Arthur Koestler's work in philosophy that really articulated this the best, and that is the idea that a system can be transcended and included by a previous system, which itself transcends and includes an earlier system. So in this sense, vital life is transcended and included by reptilian life. In other words, you need the foundations of vital life, the kind of systems in place for that, to allow for reptilian brainstems to kind of be operative or, work. And so I won't get into that very much, but just to say that I think that it is a kind of intelligence that cannot be, say, reduced to or reduced away, but has enough uniqueness to consider itself as a kind of brain. But it's, again, hyper primitive in the context of the reptilian brainstem, and so understandably we don't typically consider it a brain. And it doesn't have kind of what we consider animals to be, which has a bit of impulsivity at minimum. It's actually pre-impulsive in some important sense. And then before that, matter itself. Now, it's very weird to say that matter is a brain, and It's pushing the boundaries of reason, of course, to say something like that. But it has organizing principles. Gold behaves in a certain way, and so too does silver. Of course, this is the very foundations of the universe. And so, its existence extends back probably at least 13-ish billion years. So, this has been in play for a very long time, at least on this planet prior to the arrival of vegetative life. But I'm going to say that it is foundational, or necessary but not sufficient, is another way to put it, for the emergence of vital life. And so vital life embraces, as I noted about holons, it transcends and includes matter. It requires matter to be. And so in that very important sense, it is kind of an organizing principle, or in this very, very loose way, a kind of brain. So in this sense, we have 5 brains, and we're building the 6th, which will be transcended and included. And importantly, we need the neocortexes. We need complex thinking to be able to create the 6th brain, which will probably be something like the NeuralLink. Although going into it, as I noted, is going to be very hectic, and I can't say I support it necessarily, but it seems like it is the nature of where we might be going. Okay, peace.